Hello, welcome to the G.I. Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review. I am David Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave. We are talking Helix 104 as our next review, which she's a really cool, interesting character, a modern character. Very rare that we get a modern character. Let's say hi to everybody in the chat today. Good morning, Michael Jean Fleming. How are you doing? Top of the morning to everyone. Thank you. So Helix is an interesting character because she did not exist in the modern era. She came from a video game in the 2000s. Is her first appearance. I do not have that video game, so I cannot show you that video game. But her first comic appearance was through IDW. It was a G.I. Joe special, Helix special there. I don't know if you can see that very well. But that was her first comic appearance, and it was written by Chuck Dixon. And that was during the IDW era of Helix. And then she had a figure in the Rise of Cobra period, Agent Helix there. And it says covert operations. And let's see what her file card has to say to give a little bit of information into how she was created. It says Agent Helix is a covert operations officer with advanced martial arts training and expert marksmanship, an Olympic class gymnast. Her distinctive whirlwind attack is an overpowering combination of kicks and firepower. Agent Helix classified, serial number classified, Corporal E4 dual 10mm auto pistols. It says, and that is all it says on Helix. So, I always thought she was a really interesting character. She had a different shade to her. She wasn't a Scarlet. She wasn't a Lady J. She wasn't a Jinx, but she was a little bit more down in the dirt, dirty type of a character. She didn't have a problem getting her hands dirty and getting a little blood on her hands. I guess I can say that a little bit. With different things that she did in the comics, from what I could tell, I think Chuck Dixon did a really good job writing her. He understands how to write female characters from a lot of the work that he did on DC Comics and a lot of female characters he wrote over there. But I think Helix is an interesting and unique character to add to the lore of G.I. Joe. We needed more female characters that had a little bit more impact on the storytelling. And I think Helix was a really cool character. I liked her. And I'm glad that she was brought in. So then that brings us to the classified figure. So you can see she's got a little bit of a smirk in that artwork, and she's got her a little bit of a knife or a pistol or something that's on the side of her arm there, part of those gauntlets. She's 104 in the classified line. And then on this side, we have the target artwork with the QR code to nowhere. Again, I wish they Hasbro would get their heads out of there, you know what's, and get that fixed. Hey, good morning, Jason Atreides. Thanks for joining us. Agent Helix is great. Thank you very much. So the QR code to nowhere. I wish Hasbro would get their heads out of there, you know what's, because they really need to make that QR code go to some sort of file cards, go to a page that shows all the designations, what they mean, what's going on, a little bit of behind the scenes of what G.I. Joe, Cobra, the different factions are, a little bit of an intel kind of page. And I think they should be doing that. Why they keep putting these QR codes on these packages, I'll never know, because they don't go anywhere. So there you go. That's my 2 cents on that. Jason Atreides. She made me forget the other Joe females. Yeah, because she's a little bit more down and dirty. I thought Scarlet was, but she brings it to another level, I think. Morning, Dave and chat. Good morning, Sean Jones. Thanks for joining us. Morning, all. So then we go to her render. She has more of a yellow color scheme on her, black and gray and yellow. Here's a couple of call outs that they mention on the side of the package, and then all of her render with all of her gear, and then her designations. Let's go into the designations to see what she's got going on there. Let's see, she's got the skull, which is covert ops, which I should have known. She's got the 4 bullets, which I believe is small arms, light weapons. There you go. And then she's got the target. The target is marksman. So light arms, target, and then she's got martial arts capabilities too. She's got the karate person on there. So let's see, where is that karate person? Martial arts. There you go. So those are all your designations for Helix. Right there. So then we go around to the photography on the front. Shooting the Galaxy matte again. Fantastic artwork. It looks like she's in a city, maybe Broca or something like that. There's an ambulance back there. She's in front of somebody's house. She's ready to go and kick some butt and get involved. And then there's that little piece of artwork on the side. Then there's the render of the weapons again. So this is, again, our first time opening this figure up. We have not opened any of these figures up until we've done these videos. So we're now up to 104. We've done the HasLab. We've done Double Snake Eyes all the ways up. And we've done, I think, 13 vintage package figures up to this time. And then we will start opening up the Legacy and 60th anniversary, starting with the 10th 110 figures. So that's coming up very shortly. We will start with the vintage, or I should say the 60th anniversary, I think, Halo jumper. So there she is. And there's her weapons crate. 104, Stars and Stripes, Agent Helix. So we'll put that over there. Let's see. Good morning, 610 Yojo Daddy. What's up, Super D? What's up, fellas? Helix is a great head sculpt. Oh, cool. We'll get to that. And then 610 saying hi to everybody in the chat, which I really appreciate you guys talking to each other and hanging out and have a good relationship with each other. That's really cool. All right, so let's get her out of her box and we'll see what we have here. We got some really cool stuff coming up. I want to let you guys know there's some really cool reviews around the 10 mark. So we get about 6 or 7 more videos to get to that 10 mark. And there's a lot of stuff coming up from that 60th anniversary figure till about the 14th figure or 14th number review. There's going to be some really cool stuff, a lot of really cool stuff. So I'm looking forward to all that stuff. But we got to get through these first. And there you go. There's your Helix. And so she has that smirking artwork inside her package again there. Also, I wanted to ask you guys if my screen is doing that dual screen again. Can you let me know in the chat if it's doing that again, or did I fix it? Let me know in the chat if I fixed that or not. So she's a little bit wonky. Her legs are a little bit wonky right there off the bat. They're not solid. They're a little bent. But I'm sure I can get her to straighten up. It's just a little work. Michael Jean Fleming, if my screen is doing that split screen again, let me know. she's a little bit loose. She's a little wobbly. She's a little loose. The legs are a little bit, I don't know. I'm guessing because she's a thinner figure and she's a little bit smaller. So the plastic maybe is a little bit weird, but she's okay. So let's look at her. So we have different shades of, like, I guess this is a purple. It looks like a purplish gray. And then we have, of course, her famous yellow that she's known for. She's got some other armaments like leg shins and leg guards and things like that. She's got two secondary holsters. She got a secondary belt that has a lot of gear on it. She's got that little bitty call out that they made, that little blue call out on her arm there. It looks like it's solved. I only see one screen listed on your channel today. Great. That's the head sculpt that you were talking about. I scrolled down to the portrait, the ratio thing, and I chose portrait, so that's why it's showing up with this portrait, and I didn't have the dual one. So that's what I just scrolled down before I started, and I checked it, and it gave me options. So that's how you check it. That was weird. So you can see she's a little bit wobbly. So the joints and stuff are not tight on this at all. So I don't know if that was my figure or if other people had the same problem, but I've noticed that with other figures too. So here's that head sculpt you guys were talking to me about. She's got kind of whitish hair, and there's like a pearlescence paint kind of glaze over it, or wash, I guess is the way Lenny calls it, a pearlescence wash on her hair. Looks pretty good. I always thought she had more blonder hair in the comics, but that's fine. Then she has that one little black little bang that's hanging down there. It's a different color. I think her face print is really nice as well on this. I don't know if you guys can see that face print really well. There it is. Looks really good for a female figure. Um, she and then she has like a little tampo over there on her arm. You can see it there. It's like a little band-aid or a little cut where she cut her wrist or whatever. It's really interesting. I like that little band-aid. That's very detailed to put something small like that in that spot. I really find it interesting. Good morning, Bobby World. Thanks for joining the chat. I'm not a fan of those wrist gauntlet swords she comes with. For some reason, it makes me only see General Grievous from Star Wars. Yeah, yeah, she's a video game type of a character. So you know how video game characters have to have like their weapon or their fatality or their kind of energy blast or whatever. And a lot of those characters, like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, they all had that type of stuff. So because she's a video game character, they gave her some sort of a gimmick to kill people with. And so that's probably what that is for. So they just carried that over into the comic and the toy. And let me see if she has that in this one. The the 2000 toy from Rise of Cobra does not have that. She's got a big, huge laser gun, and she's got some little guns and some other guns, and she's got a sword, but she does not have those razor things on her arms. So they took that out. So that's interesting that they took it out for that 4-inch modern figure, but they left it in for the classified figure. So they tried to homage the video game and the other figure and do both of them. I like the fact she's got this kind of SMN type like corset on to give her a little bit of a different body um setup there with her. Um She's got black gloves. She's got a lot of different interesting stuff with this armor and everything too, because she's got these like little thruster things in the back of her legs and stuff like that. And this harness, it goes all the ways around, and then she has the elbow pads and stuff. So she's going to be doing a lot more action, I guess. So she had to make sure she was armored up pretty good. So with her articulation points, she has the butterflied shoulders. She's got the double pinned elbows, the double pinned knees. She's got the crotch and leg articulation. She has the thigh and the calf articulation, which is normal. She's got the new head uh, rocker, and she's got the ab crunch. She's got the foot rocker and the secondary ankle articulation there. So she's got pretty much all the articulation points. She has the wrist here, but let's see if she has the secondary wrist. She does not have the secondary wrist or the little twisty wrist articulation. So let's get into some of her accessories. She's still a little wonky standing up, so it's going to take a while to get her to maneuver so she'll stay up. But that's fine. So I'm going to put her there because I don't want her to fall. She's a very cool character. She gets called in for a lot of interesting missions and things, kind of like missions that you wouldn't expect somebody to get called in for is who they call her in for, that are like almost impossible. Like they don't expect her to come back, you know. Legal, Indicia, and Gobbledygook again. Put that in there. In her weapons crate. So we go over there. Then we got our package, G.I. Joe Cobra package again. There. I'm going to clean up some of these little doodads. There. I'm very happy that they're doing modern stuff. I really want them to do yeah, it's a little bright. So let me see if I can adjust my video here, and then we'll see if you can see her if it's too bright. Yeah, it's a little too bright, so I need to adjust my lighting. How about that? Is that better? Michael Jean Fleming, can you see her better? Yeah. Hopefully that worked. Let's see. So we got a lot of stuff in here. All right. So we got everything out of there. So there's those gauntlets that you were talking about. So let's see. How do these things go on? Kind of go like that. They kind of go like that. And then I guess that is a little weird. I agree with you. Bobby World, I agree with you. That's a little weird. Maybe they go like this, so they're in her back, kind of like that. Um, that is a little odd. I don't. Yeah, I agree with you on that, Bobby World. I don't think that's a good way to do this. I think there should be more of a storage type thing with this, like that. I don't know. So she definitely looks like she's like a ninja of some sort. So you have those blades like that. I kind of turned them to the back, but I don't know. It's it's not like you can fold them up. Well, I guess you can fold them up like that. So yeah, you can fold them up so then they look like that there. So I guess that's okay. It's better. I'm just curious if she's using a weapon or something, if they would get in the way. I wonder, is there storage for that? I want to see if there's some storage there for that. I'm going to move her arms around and see if I can get that in a better position. Yeah, it looks like she's kind of got these big Wolverine claws, except that they're only one claw. I'm going to see what she looks like with everything. So she has the two guns that she comes with. So those are those claws. First off, let's get a better look at these claws. The bladed weapons. They do have some really cool detail on there, I must say. I do like the way that they're designed. I just don't know if putting them on her on a regular basis, because I like the figures when they can store all their gear. So I would hope that there's a place you could store those gauntlets on her where it wouldn't get in the way of her doing other stuff. So we're going to try and see what we can do. There is a backpack. We've gotten this backpack before. I think Storm Shadow had this backpack. So we're going to put that on there. There. And then she has two other additional swords. She has these two yellow and black bladed swords. They look like they're like the normal Storm Shadow type sword there, but they have that yellow deco and black deco on them. So I'm going to put those on her back. Let's see. Because I think that's where they go there, in her back. So there, we got the two swords on her backpack, on her back there. Uh, yeah, those swords are weird. I just leave them off of her. I think they were based off of some video game, but I can't remember what it was. I think they were called mantis blades. The arm swords, I mean, not the regular swords. I like the regular ones. Oh, okay. So I'm like a big proponent of trying to use all the spots and put all the gear on them if I can. That's just my preference, but I understand if you don't want to use them, you don't have to use them. Thankfully, we have the weapons crates, so we can put a lot of the stuff in there, those weapons crates, for storage capabilities. So let's see. Let's see if I can get her. She's a little top heavy. I got her. All right. So then she comes with her two famous guns. They're slightly different. They're not decoed the same. They're slightly different. Maybe they are the same. They look a little bit different. The details on them look a little different. So we're going to put those in her two holsters on her legs. Let's see. There. And there. All right, so then I have her two guns in her two holsters on her left and right legs. Then she has this big Bowie knife, which is weird that she comes with this big Bowie knife. It has some silver and gray deco on the hilt and the blade. There is a spot on her back of her belt. I don't know if that's where that's supposed to go. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to put it in there and see if I can get it in that back spot. I may have to take her backpack off in order to get to that. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this in this little. She got these all this detail on her belt, and she's got one little hole on her belt for something, and I think it is that bayonet knife there, like that. So I did get it in there. So kind of sometimes you see those spies or bounty hunters or whatever, they pull out that knife from the back of their back and they put it on there. But if you see, there's all kinds of like charges and um, different um, explosives and stuff on that belt. She's got a lot of gear on that belt all the ways around, and there's different deco hits on it, different like steel, black, and gray deco hits. So they gave her a lot of different cool stuff on that. So let's see then if I can get the backpack back on there, and if it is in the way of that bayonet knife. No, it's not really in the way. Um, so I got everything on there so she can get all of her gear on the figure itself. Um, and she's got those knives like that. There is a little bit of a different deco on the hair too. It gives a little black highlight to the hair. I can totally understand not liking the mantis swords, but personally, I like that they are different. Didn't she use them in the IDW Aura run? Can't remember for sure. Yeah, she definitely used them, I think, because Chuck Dixon wrote the comic and it's based on the video game. But it's part of her, or they wouldn't have included it. It seems like when they do characters, Hasbro, they try to incorporate all the different variations of a character, and give them the capabilities to transition from one to the other. So if they have to have the character, that means they probably won't do another Helix, because you can do a lot of different stuff with her with all these different accessories and weapons and gear that she comes with, which I like, especially with the amount of money that it's costing the figures. She probably wasn't that high. She was probably around 22 or something like that, but still, we get a lot of stuff with her, and we got a lot of gear with her, and a lot of options with the guns and the swords and the blades and things like that. But yeah, so I'm just gonna leave her with her blades for now. Maybe I'll put the guns in on her later, but she's still a little wobbly. But I'm very happy that she can um, hold all of her gear. That's a very important part that I think. If you're gonna give a character gear, you should be able to hold all the gear. I like all the color breaks in her. I like all the little deco hits and the little pieces that they added to her armor to make her unique and different. She's definitely a standout as far as. Hey, good morning, Clement. Nice to see you. Hello. Um, so I think overall she's a fairly cool character, and there's a lot of options and modularity with this figure. She's just a little not sturdy enough for me. She's a little shaky, and her legs are a little bit weird. I don't know if that's because the plastic they're using is a little bit more flexible plastic. Her bayonet knife was also very soft and wibbly. So they have not fixed the accessories, the soft accessories yet, up until this point. But she's a cool character. She looks good from a figure standpoint from afar, because of all the different unique stuff that comes with her. But I I think they should have gotten a little bit sturdier or something like that on the mold, because she doesn't hold very well, and her crotch is not holding in there very well either. She's very like loose, so I'm not too thrilled with that. We'll see if she holds up once I put her on a stand, because I don't want her legs to bend like that. But they keep bending. So that could just be the packaging, or could be just the print run of this particular figure. Sometimes that happens. We get figures and they don't come out of the factory very good. But I've seen other people with her and they liked her. So we'll just have to wait and see. But she stands up. She's got all of her gear. She's doing a good job there. What do you guys think about modern characters? Do you think Hasbro should be doing more modern characters? There's a lot of really cool modern stuff from 2000 till now. So we've gotten Kamakura, we've gotten now Helix, and then there's a Cobra that's coming down the line very shortly. In a couple of videos, we're going to be hitting this particular modern Cobra character. And then we just got name onlys for a Zanya, which is another Devil's Due character that Josh Blaylock created. That's a Dreadnought character, Zartan's daughter. So they're peppering in the modern, but there's so much modern stuff that has never been touched on. We got a Shooter, which is a modern as well. So they're peppering in the modern now. Now that we've gotten to like close to 100, they're getting us more modern stuff, because the vintage, they're very, very close to completing a lot of those vintage years. There's only a few figures left from 82 to 87. Some vehicle drivers, some redecos like the khaki beige clutch and grunt, the Mission Brazil, the silver version of Grand Slam. We haven't even got a regular Grand Slam yet, so we need that. We have the redeco of him as well. So we have all those redecos. We got a bunch of vehicle drivers, Keel Haul, Cutter, Deep Six, Thunder, Toll Booth, the Stun Driver, the Raven Driver pilot, Ace. I'm trying to think of all the vehicle drivers that we haven't gotten yet. But yeah, those are pretty much all of the figures that we need within the first 6 years of GI Joe, 82 to 87, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 6 years. So those are the most of the primarily the figures that we need. And of course, one of the most outstanding figures we haven't gotten is Airtight from 85, I believe Airtight is. And so they're really Dave, what is ROM? Is that character that's back there that you're looking at? ROM was a toy line that was done in the 70s, the late 70s. In Marvel Comics, they did a comic book series. It's called ROM the Space Knight. He's basically like a knight in shining armor, but in space. And they go from planet to planet trying to fight an alien race that can disguise themselves, called the Dire Wraiths. And so this is a Marvel Legend version of ROM. There's been 3 or 4 other versions of ROM, but he had a toy line in the late 70s. And so Hasbro got the rights to do the toys based on the comic. And now Marvel Comics is also doing reprints of Micronauts and ROM comics. And actually Crystar comics. Great news. My short fuse and Steeler have shipped. Can't wait. Yes, 610 Yojo Daddy. Mine's is supposed to arrive today. So hopefully, if I get that, and I also have my vintage packaged green shirts on the way as well. They may both arrive today. So then I may do a little bit of a showcase video later today with my short fuse and Steeler and my vintage bat, vintage green shirt, and some little things that I got from Dollar General. So we'll put all those into another video, and we'll showcase all those if all of them arrive at a reasonable time. Um, so what was I saying? So what do you guys think about modern characters? What modern characters do you think should be incorporated into Classified? Because Tony and Lenny have said that they want to get every character that has ever been created in G.I. Joe in Classified. They wanted to encompass the entirety of the brand and be one unique format for this brand, which I applaud them. I would love that. Classified, I should say, Classic Masters of the Universe tried to do that. They did tons and tons of stuff. And it was like a 13-year, and they're still kind of doing it a little bit. It's still going a little bit, the Classics Masters of the Universe. But so much stuff was incorporated into that line. And I would love everything to be in G.I. Joe, but there's so much. There's so many variations of characters, so many variations of Vipers, this and that. It's going to be hard to get everything, but it would be awesome if we could get everything in one uniform line. It'd be hundreds and hundreds. I don't know if we could even get to everything. It would be like probably 500-600 different characters. It'd be like 700-900 variations on characters. Snake Eyes alone, there's probably over 100 versions of Snake Eyes. So trying to get all this stuff in one cohesive line, I applaud Hasbro. If they could do it, great. But I don't see them being able to do that. In reality, I've laid out another 10-year plan for HasLabs, and if we get 40 or so figures a year, 40 times 10, that's 400 more figures or 400 more items in the next 10 years to go along with that. So we're averaging about 40 items a year the last couple years, and next year in 27 also look like there's going to be about 40 items a year. 610 Yojo Daddy, I think Billy is overdue, but I'm open to more new characters like Wolf Spider and Mole Rat, both versions. Yes. So that's a whole nother part of this. Getting characters that we've never gotten before, as well as characters that have never been done in Classified, that's in different eras, different unique ideations of the brand, say like Renegades, Sigma 6, Valor vs. Venom, Joe vs. Cobra, the vintage A Real American Hero characters. There's a lot of new characters in that line as well. Sergeant Savage, G.I. Joe Extreme, Joseph Colton, the Adventure Team, and even stuff that's being introduced in the comics right now. Larry Hama is still creating new characters right now, like Sherlock and Don Moreno, the new version of Serpentor, the cyborg army, the blue cyborg army. So there's a lot of interesting things. There's even in Skybound, there are new versions of characters like Good Baroness, like Scruffy Duke and Scruffy Clutch, the Vipra that they're using in that line as well. And then now we just saw this character that Shooter shot in the latest issue. I can't think of her name off the top of my head. So it's there's a lot. There's a lot. So I'm curious as to characters in the 2000s, from 2001 till now. What characters do you think would be cool to incorporate into classified, because like I said, they're peppering in some interesting stuff. Jodie Craig, that's Shooter, right? Brandon R. Jodie Craig is Shooter. They did do a figure of her, if I'm not mistaken. Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone inside the chat. Thank you. Bomb Strike. Yeah, Bomb Strike would be a cool character. I agree with you. What about characters like Stiletto? What about Tombstone? What about Scalpel? What about Venomous Maximus? What about the brothers that were the G.I. Joe guys? All those brothers that were Don Moreno. It is way, way past due. I want Hector Ramirez, Candy Appel, and Candy as Bongo the Balloon Bear. I 100% agree with you, 610 Yojo Daddy. Candy Appel is one of my all-time favorite comic book characters, and I've been wanting her for years. And I don't know if we'll get her or not. It does not seem like Hasbro is focused on the comics that much. They are focused on a little bit of the modern comics, but they don't focus on the Larry Hama comics that much. They do focus on Sunbow, it seems like, a lot. I just sat down. Yes, if that's who you were talking about, I was making a sandwich. Oh, okay. Michael G. Fleming. Oh, I would pay just about anything has to ask for a good-looking classified Venomous Maximus. Yeah, and then there's a lot of creepy crawlies. So the line is very, very open. I would say open to anything, right? Because Lenny and Tony have said that Hasbro, everything is on the table. So a lot of this stuff I think would be really cool. There's a lot of variation too of characters that have been come over the years, like a lot of different cool bats. And then the Collector Club from the early 2000s, there was some really interesting new versions of characters like Crimson Guards, Airtight had a new version, Gung Ho, a bunch of different characters had unique new versions of themselves as well that are really interesting versions that I think would be fun versions if they wanted to do other versions of characters down the line as well. So there's a lot of opportunity with this line. There's a lot of openness to this line, and the possibilities are really endless. But I'm curious about some of the characters that you guys would like to see in a modern sense that you think would be something Hasbro would get. So far, the modern characters that they're picking from, like the Helix, the Kamakura, the character we're going to be showing off in a little while, Shooter, are all kind of fairly well-known modern characters. Bob Strike and his brother and I think are very well known as well from the Devil's Due era. I believe they were in the Devil's Due era, if I'm not mistaken. They were in the G.I. Joe Elite series, right? Michael Gene Fleming, I think. Brandon R. Easter eggs too, without them advertising it that I know of. Marine Sniper 60 alternate head is Scarlet from her Marine Sniper school training listed on the ARA file card. Interesting. I did not know that. When we get to the 60th anniversary Sniper, we'll look at that, Brandon R. If you're on that video, you can let me know about that, and I'll take a look at that. So we're going to be doing the 60th anniversary figures every 10 figures. So they will be coming in a couple of videos, and then 10 figures after that, every 10 figures. And then the Legacy will take that slot. It'll be every 10 figures as well. But that's something else. Comic book characters. There's so many great comic book characters that have never been utilized. Even modern characters. Chuck Dixon came out with a character that was a facilitator type character in his run. And he was a really cool, interesting character. I liked him a lot. He appeared a lot. And then there's characters from the movies that never appeared anywhere else, but they were in the movies. I think the Brendan Fraser, like drill sergeant character, and different vipers and stuff like that were used in the movies. So there's a lot of unique versions of characters as well. But comic book characters, I would love to see, obviously, the hard master, soft master, the blind master, the old master, Billy, uh, Candy Appel, her father, Doctor Professor Appel, um, Fred. And I was going through some of my old stuff, and I noticed there were characters that had the Fred heads. There was a Cobra Commander that had a Fred head, and different Freds would be really cool as well. Michael Gene Fleming. I'm not sure. I fell out of the comics during the Devil's Due era. Oh, okay. That's fine. Um, you love my t-shirt. This is my G.I. Joe Duke recruitment t-shirt. Knowing is half the battle. Join the Joe team t-shirt. Thank you. Sergeant Stone, I believe, um, was the character from the movies, Sergeant Stone. Oh, the Brendan Fraser character. Okay, well, there's another thing. Sigma Six. There's a lot of interesting characters in that, and versions of characters. Like I like that Jinx version. I like the mainframe character that was in there, and I like the Kamakura that was in there. And they had some really cool bats, like that really cool blue bat that had like the propellers, and he looked like a drone or whatever. I love that bat. I would love to get a version of that bat. And then there's other versions of Rakondo and Shockwave and stuff like that, and characters with animals. So I think that's where Hasbro is getting a lot of these animal things that they're doing. They're putting characters with animals because Sigma 6 did it. They did a bunch of characters with animals. And so obviously the vintage had a lot of animals, but Sigma 6 did as well. So they're mixing and matching a lot. I would love to get an interview with Tony and Lenny and talk to them about a lot of these choices, a lot of these decisions that they made for this line, because it's very interesting being a long-term collector, a long-term fan of this brand. It's very fascinating seeing how they're incorporating different elements from the brand, like the bat, the Crimson Bat. There was a Crimson Bat. There was a Crimson Alley Viper in the modern time frame. So those are things from the modern time frame that I didn't know they were using. As I've been going back and looking for stuff, like I was looking for this Helix, and I had to pull out that other character that we're going to be showing in a little while. I was looking at different versions of characters. I was like, well, there's the Crimson Alley Viper. There's the Crimson Bat. I didn't know that. But, as I do research and I find these things, it kind of jogs my memory that there's a lot of stuff out there. When I try to do research on characters, sometimes I go through my books and I see all these variations of characters. And I'm like, oh, there's an interesting character like Wraith. There's two versions of Wraith. There's a invisible Wraith and there's a regular Wraith. He's a character that was introduced during the 25th anniversary, and then in IDW they brought him into the comics. Really cool character, very cool, kind of a Firefly version 2 Firefly character with armor that could turn invisible and he could blend in, kind of using that Zartan technology where Zartan could blend in with his background and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of really cool stuff. I would love to get a Wraith. There's this really cool Viper. It's like a Techno Viper, but it's not a Techno Viper. It's like a high end computer Viper or whatever that has like this big backpack with all these like satellite type things that come out of his back. I would love to see that Viper. I think that is a really cool Viper to see that character in the modern era classified line. And then there's like jungle Vipers and all this other stuff, and fire vipers and all these cool vipers that they created in the modern era that have not been used in classified yet. So I think there's a lot that we could see in this line. There's a lot of really cool stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see what's coming. But I think the line has a lot of energy right now. There's a lot of positive um, uh, stuff coming. So far, I think they're in a really nice spot. Classified is, and I think if they can keep the quality that is in the line at this point that we're going through with these figures right now, if they can keep that quality in the next few years, I think the line's gonna last a lot longer. So it is expensive, I'll say that. It's not cheap. So you gotta pick and choose what you're gonna get and what you're not gonna get and stuff like that. But so I think that's gonna do it for this episode. So I have another episode coming up that's gonna be a classified comparison to vintage vehicles that'll show the different sizes and the reality of the HasLabs and things like that for this modern classified line. So stay tuned for that video. And then if I get a bunch of new stuff coming in, I'll do a video showcasing a lot of that new stuff. So look for that video. And then our next video is another new Joe. It's a Joe that we wanted a while back based on some of the accessories and things that characters had as parts of their figures. We were like, oh, we would easily be able to do this character. And they finally got to that character, and that character is 105. And it's going to be a cool character that's going to get redecoed fairly soon afterwards. And I think it's going to also be included into another subgroup fairly soon after that. So we're going to get a lot of this particular character in the next, I would say, 20 figures after this. So it's going to be interesting to see how they differentiate this particular character that's coming up. So it'll be 105. So look for that one. That's coming up next in the classified line, and it will again be a new character. So we're getting a lot of new stuff recently, so that'll be really cool. I like to get new stuff. And I think that does it. So I want to say thanks to everybody in the chat again for contributing, getting involved, and adding questions, adding comments to help us kind of broaden this discussion out. And that's what I like. I want to broaden the discussion. And I ask questions that I think are interesting for each of these videos that I think you guys want to talk about. So this is a Joe video. So we're going to go with Yo, Joe. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one.